Hello everyone, and welcome to another Norland series. As you can see here, we are in our new city. Now we need to go over our character and our scenario before we can decide what we're going to do first in this new campaign. I have been wanting to do a series for a long time, where we play as the Unholy Horde ourselves, but it couldn't be done in a way I was satisfied with until the debug menu was added. With it, we can change our character and city to our heart's content so we can more closely resemble the mechanics of the Unholy Horde. But first we need to look the part. We start with our banner, and as you can see here, it's actually pretty simple to get the one that resembles the Unholy Hordes pretty nicely. It's got a black skull on a red and yellow background. As for our ruler, we started with a macaw ruler, and he's basically only got 19 combat and command skill, as well as a head chopper talent on the combat skill there. And we used the debug menu to actually do all this. You can pretty easily do this. You just do Control Shift D when you have the debug option enabled on Steam, and you can basically just go over to Object Inspector, and when you're clicked on any character, it will actually bring you to their Object Inspector specifically. So you can actually just go into like their skills here, and you can just add their skills however you want. You can even go to traits and change that as well. From here, it's all about giving ourselves a balance between the difficulty that keeps the game interesting, while also giving enough of the flavor that makes the Unholy Horde uniquely intimidating. For our purposes, we of course went with the hardcore difficulty. We disabled Ragged Ones and Prophecies, turned on Old Grudges for higher xenophobia, and increased our Iron Mine capacity. I thought it made sense to take away the Ragged Ones and the Church Prophecies, since these don't really seem to be things that should impact the Unholy Horde. And Old Grudges with a Macaw ruler means the Tanaic culture is going to hate us even more, straining our relationship with the Church. Finally, we need to set some rules for ourselves to make things feel more authentic. We won't be hiring any prisoners whatsoever, or peasants, or mercenaries, or anything like that to our army in this playthrough at all. Instead, we'll be spawning 2 warriors every day with the fearless trait, which will prevent them from fleeing in battle. We can also spawn new axes for them as needed to keep everyone equipped, including Sediamen, our ruler. But we can't sell any of them, of course, since that would be a little bit of a, a cheat, to just spawn a bunch of axes and be able to sell them all the time. And as for conquering new lands, we can only do this by using sudden attacks. So you go to the aggression and burn to the ground here. And we would have to burn our cities to the ground. In order to actually take control of them, we will settle the ruins. But we can only do that basically as a stepping stone towards another city. So for instance, or in other words, we would need to sweep all of the cities in our sphere of influence here, destroy all of them first, and then we could capture one of them to extend our range to be able to attack a further city, basically. I thought this would be a good way to prevent ourselves from snowballing too hard. If you have watched the previous series, you know that having vassals basically means that you get a bunch of tributes, and it makes it pretty easy to just acquire endless amounts of gold. That will make the late game a little bit less interesting. So with all of that out of the way, we can pretty much get started here. And our ruler, Sediamen, is pretty much just strolling. We're going to set him up on the carrot fields. And as you can see, the carrot field is now the main field when you start a new campaign. And we can't actually create them yet. We need to create our hall first. That's in service, and we will just place it. We're not going to get too crazy in this game with organizing our city. As you can see, we're right next to the mine here. We have some nice herb bushes right here. I think there are more somewhere, yeah, right here as well. Let's survey just a little bit. Is there a second iron mine? It does not look like it. The only unfortunate part with this particular map is all these hills down over here. I don't think we can build on these. I don't really remember if you can. I don't think so though. And I think the other issue is the trees are a little bit sparse. They're kind of all over here on these hills, so that's kind of a little bit of an issue. Other than that though, should not be too difficult of a start for us. Now, you may be wondering, why did I choose to have ourselves adding 2 soldiers every day kind of randomly. And the reason for that is if you actually go to the Unholy Horde when they are active, you can actually see that this is how they work. They basically get, it's like 3 soldiers per day, and then they max out at 60 soldiers. So I thought instead of giving ourselves a cap like that, that we would just do 2. I could have done 1, and I figured then it would make the series a lot slower. Maybe after 100 days, you know, we have 100 soldiers, right? But the thing about that is after 100 days, you know, that's going to take 30 plus episodes. And then if we lose any of those soldiers in battle, then that won't even be nearly enough to take everything over. So I thought 2 was a nice little middle ground if we do not have a cap, but we do not have the minimum amount of soldiers being gained. So either way, we are not going to add any soldiers today. We will start on day 1, and then we will add 2 every day from then on. But yes, we have carrots, and we are going to pretty much just speed along and let Sedium you know, do his inspections and let these builders get this hall ready. Now, it appears that Mastok, must be these guys, are actually trying to already take over Caitlin. So that's going to be kind of interesting to already have a kingdom near us, especially because if we burnt Caitlin to the ground at any point, it would cause them to really hate us. But actually, on that note, we're going to have to be strategic a little bit because as soon as we burn down our first city, the matriarch is going to hate us, which means that we are not going to be able to buy anything from them. And I have already tested a little bit, and if you just go and attack people with nothing but axes, you can do a lot of damage for sure. However, if they have any kind of walls or anything like that, or towers with archers in them, you are going to take a lot of damage before you end up hitting your target. And if they have walls, you are basically completely screwed. So you basically need to get some form of armor to make sure that you can protect all of those axemen, rather. And now all of our warriors are going to be level 20 in combat. And the only issue with our army is going to be that we will not have commanders. We will only have sedimen. Beyond that, we will have to hire lords in order to have extra commanders. Now, you could actually, if you wanted to do this, where is it again? Players Town, characters, and you can go here and set that to soldiers. You can set these to knights, and you can spawn them just like that. The problem with this is that these actually count as mercenaries. So after a certain amount of days, you will have to rehire them. I don't even know if you actually can rehire them. I didn't test that. But they will have a contract that expires. At least every single time that I tried it, they do. So I figure that seems like a little bit too much for the purposes of the series, and I figure we will just deal with that little bit of a hardship ourselves. Obviously, after you have 20 soldiers in a squad, you can't add any more. So you will need extra commanders beyond 20 soldiers. So that's kind of what I'm talking about there. So that will be another hardship we'll have to endure. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of what I'm thinking about so far. We're going to need to really build. Basically, what I'm thinking is we're going to be building quite tall with our main city here. Getting very strong, maybe even getting 60 plus soldiers before we go and do any kind of assaults, and just accruing as much light armor and things like that. It's going to be pretty difficult though because we are Macaw, so the matriarch is just not going to trust us right away. But I think we can make it. I think we can find ways. We'll have a lot of soldiers, so we can be taking out bandit camps left and right. The other thing that we can do is assault villages to take resources. And as you can see, we've got wood here, meat here, rutabaga, that's not very useful, carrots, hops, and more rutabaga. So these are not the best village setups here, actually. At least we can get some wood, which we will probably be low on, and we can also get meat. So that will kind of help us a little bit. Maybe having ragged ones on might have helped a little bit just to well, not really for any particular reason, but just maybe to level up, like, Sediaman even a little bit more, or any other lords that we have, to level them up a little bit quicker. But Otherwise, yeah, I think we just pretty much have to deal with what we have. And we do have the trader coming in, so we will trade with them, and hopefully we can start to buy some armors, or maybe we will just fast track on our own to actually produce them ourselves. Okay, and so here we are at the trader, and of course we're not going to bother with any kind of maces or anything like that because we will have axes, endless amounts of axes. Now, I don't know if we're going to need the paper. We are macaws, so we are trade focused, but I'm not really too sure. I'm not really too sure that we actually are going to need a lot of it. I think we'll hang on to it, though, for the moment. Let's just look at the researches. And we start with granary, hop field, and beer, mine, and rye field and mill. I don't think we're going to really be worried about producing any hops at the moment. We'll keep the book, though. But yeah, we're not really too worried about that at the moment. Let's see here. I would like to start on the herbalist as quickly as possible, so we'll buy that. Unfortunately, until we learn it, we won't be able to buy the alchemy lab book. We will also buy... We don't have a lot of money, so we do have to kind of think about this. I think we will just worry about getting our herbalist up and running, and then get the alchemy lab. And for the moment, we will just save the rest of our money as much as possible. Yes, I think that's good. Unfortunately, we can't buy any armor yet. What is the relation? 25 that we're going to need. Okay, so we'll just buy this book, and we're going to want to place immediately our library, and we'll place it... Let's place it here. And we're also going to want to place... Because I think we're going to be building a lot of stuff. We're actually just going to place 4 of these. We're probably only going to set this one to build first, and these ones we're not going to be worrying about as much. But we want to get some housing going, because we are going to be getting our first warriors tomorrow, so... I guess we'll do horizontal on these. It's not really too big of a deal. And we'll do quite a few. This isn't exactly the best organization or anything like that, but like I said, we're not going to be worried about that. We're the Unholy Horde. We are not worried about building a city, so, you know, not really too concerned about any of that. And we'll set, let's say, we'll set all of these up to build first, but we do need to get ourselves lumber mills. And let's see, where is a good place for them? Like I said, most of the trees look like they're going to be... I don't even know if we can get up there to actually cut down those trees. I'm not really too sure. We'll just place it over probably by the mine, I suppose. And we'll place 2 of them. And build those first. Okay, I also decided I think we're going to go ahead and place another carrot field just to make use of that fertile land there. And we're not going to set it to build first. I think we'll have enough carrots even just on this first carrot field, at least for the moment, at least until we have maybe around 20 soldiers or something like that. Or rather 20 total population. The resource distribution is already set up, so we're not really worried about that. And we can't really produce anything just yet. Okay, now we kind of messed up a little bit because I forgot to set build first on the library, which is going to be quite a bit more important. So we're going to go ahead and untick all this other stuff first. And I did already set the library, so let's go ahead and get rid of these houses. And we'll just have those get built first afterwards. We definitely want the library before anything. And then we'll just reset the lumber mills for now, because that's actually going to be important. And now we are on our first day, so we are actually able to spawn our very first warriors. And you can actually spawn any type of character you want. You can get slaves, peasants, soldiers, lords, or even wolves if you decided that you just wanted to fill your entire city up with wolves, because, I don't know, why not? But then you hit this spawner activation, and you basically just press H. And we're going to do that twice. So there we go. We have 2 warriors. And we could do anything we want. We could make them younger. We can make them look different. All we're going to do, we're going to go to this trait part, and we're going to type fearless here, because every warrior in the Unholy Horde is fearless. And so they basically will never, run away from battle. And we'll go to skills, get rid of their command skill. Do they have any other skill? Usually they don't. And there we go. Just give them 20 in combat. There we go. And go over to our traits again and give this one fearless. And that's all you have to do. I have to do that every single day. These ones are a little bit older. I am not going to actually change their age. But you could do that if you wanted to. I think we'll just go with it. You know, if they get old and they die somehow, then that will be even more interesting, I think. And then we'll go over to, let's see, player town and go to warehouse. And we will spawn 2 additional axes. So there we have it. We have our very first warriors. We could do anything that we want with them. I'm thinking about already going and attacking, but as you can see, 15 defenders. That's pretty substantial, actually. If we were going to attack, I would probably take the meat for now. Let's just see what our chances of success would be. Just out of curiosity. 54. So I don't think we're quite ready. Maybe once we have about 5, I think we would be pretty safe because there are 3 bowmen. So they will do some damage to us. And honestly, like I mentioned, when you're attacking cities, you are at a severe disadvantage when you are just using these axemen. You would think level 20 axemen, they should just completely blow through a city. But actually, the city does quite well because they have archers and they usually have towers. And so that's a little bit of an issue. But anyways, that is going to take us a couple of days to get up to speed and be able to do any kind of attacks. But then we will have that supply of meat. And we could also attack for this wood. So it'll basically be Kalen that we're attacking for right now. And it does not make the matriarch hate you. So that's quite useful. Now, I don't yet see any bandit camps. I think it's going to be day 3 or something like that. So we will have to wait. And it looks like Kalen is going to get attacked pretty soon. That sucks for them. Now our library is completely done, so let's go ahead and get started right away on the herbalist. We'll set the auto learning. Of course, setting him in is quite stupid, but he is learning quite fast. And that's of course because those first levels are just very, very low experience points, but hopefully his intelligence skill will go up pretty fast. And we'll set him up on that. And how far away is that? 15%, okay. Not going to get done today, but tomorrow it will. Now, we're going to go ahead and get rid of these roads here. And we're going to go with something a little bit darker, I think. We're going to go with the dark stone. It doesn't really look that good. I wish they would have maybe just not done all the stone here. Because look at this. Personally, I don't think this looks very good together. And you can't override it. So, I mean, the hall looks amazing. Don't get me wrong. But it does look a little bit strange. And we'll just have to deal with it, of course. And we'll just do another road down this way. And maybe something like that. That's probably enough road for right now. Okay, now here we are at the trader. And I'm actually thinking we might buy a couple of medical cells just because once we do start attacking, we are going to get injured quite a lot. Like I mentioned, that's just kind of a thing that happens. You take a lot of damage. 5 is just not going to be enough. And at certain points, the medical cells do go up, and I don't really want to risk that. So we will just buy the 3 for now. We could get the macaw trade. That minus 15 threshold for trade routes could actually be quite useful for us. So that we can still do some amount of trade routes. The goal is going to be to try to make medical salves and sell them. That'll be the first goal. And then we will probably try to make our own armor. That will be the next sort of goal. But we can't really do anything else right now. 360, that's actually pretty expensive. We could sell maybe a couple of paperback, or maybe we just don't buy the medical cells yet. Yeah, 209. I don't know, let's look really quick. What is our relations with everybody? How badly does everybody hate us? Actually, we're pretty neutral, it looks like. Is that neutral with everybody? Okay, these guys don't like us. Sophia doesn't like us. That's just because of culture, though? Okay. And as far as buying and selling and things like that, it's rye and flavorful ale. Wait, hold on. Okay, there's a little bit of a disconnect there. Wait. Hold on. Wait. Am I clicked on the wrong... Okay, I'm clicked on the wrong city still. Okay, I was on Sophia. Okay, I am blind. Okay, so rye and flavorful ale there. iron and flour, rye and moonshine. Okay, so I don't think we're gonna be doing any of these trades right now. We don't really need any of this stuff. We definitely could try to sell flavorful ale, though. That could be an option. Okay, let's go back here. We would need this book, though. And we would need hops as well. Yes, okay. That's pretty expensive. Maybe we just start with trying to produce the flavorful ale, and then we will just see how that goes. So let's just go ahead and buy that. Already up to a 3 trade skill. That's pretty good. Okay. So that's basically going to be our first goal, I guess, is to try to get enough flavorful ale to sell to Sophia. And that means we do not really want to burn any of their cities, villages, rather. Looks like somebody did, though. Because they only have rutabaga anyways, and we don't want to upset them too much. Minus 30. I'm wondering if we could raise that pretty easily. Offering 5 paper, actually. That might be worth it. We're not going to do any peace treaties in the series. I think that's kind of cheating. We're the Unholy Horde, so we'll just probably skip out on any kind of peace or anything like that. But trade routes. Trade routes seems like something we could do. He's trying to learn. Maybe we wait until we get the herbalist done so that we can start harvesting the herbs first. Okay, now I just realized our warriors are quite upset. We do not want them to defect or anything like that, so we're going to hit priority to warriors on this house, and we'll start to also get these built first as well. Like I said, we want to set up this camp first. Finish the lumber mill, yes. Not too worried about that carrot field. Okay, so build first, and do that on all these as well. Okay, so it is day 2, and we spawned our next set of warriors here, and we also spawned our axes. There we go, and we are now at a total of 4. Unfortunately, that means less of our residents are able to be housed, because we do not have enough housing yet. But hopefully they will get through a lot of building today. I'm hoping they will build this camp. What are they still working on? The lumber mill? Yes, okay. So now they should be working on, hopefully, this builder camp next. Yes, okay, they are. Okay, so that's good. And then, yeah, once they get that done, hopefully they can get through these houses pretty quickly. And now we do have our first bandit camps cropping up. We also have a peace treaty from Sophia. That would actually be very useful for us right now. We're not going to do it, though, for the reasons I mentioned, that we are not doing a peaceful run here. Now, I think that this camp might be a little bit too much for us, but I do really want to try the other one that only has 3 soldiers. I'm just thinking, let's take a look, right? 80%. Like I said, if they have bowmen and they have 2, it could hurt us. It could really hurt us. 87 here, though, so we'll go and attack that one. Okay, now, as for our ambition, I think, as usual, we will be going for the fertile. It will probably take us a little bit longer to get these people, maybe, but we don't really want to do the conqueror, even though we will be doing a lot of fighting, because we probably won't be adding a lot of vassals very quickly, because we do have to get rid of Kalen, Noth, and Sophia before we can even start to push in further. And I'm actually going to look now. Based on what I said before, we have to only take a city in order to connect and, you know, be able to extend our range to other cities. So we would have to go with Sophia, because it actually gives us 2 connections this way. Now, we could cheat and say we'll take Noth, and then we'll, you know, take these guys down and add them in, and then we can also add Sophia in, but path of least resistance, basically. So we would have to take Sophia, and then we would take these guys, and it looks like we would have to take this one as well, I think. Or no, we could actually take this one. Yes. So that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far. Then we'd have to take this one. So 6. Yeah, we could definitely still get... I think we could still get enough for an empire. I'm not going to fully count all the way through it. It seems like we probably would. So we'll have to take this, this. Yeah, I think we'll still have plenty enough for an empire, and we could definitely have enough for the ambitions, but it will take a very long time, I think, to get it, so we will just go for the fertile. Okay, and here we are at our first battle of many in the series for sure, and we will just send Seduman in. They do not have a bowman, so that is very good for us. And oh, I thought I saw somebody having a blindfold on. That wouldn't have been good if they were addicted to nectar. There shouldn't be any problems for us. Nope. If they don't have bowmen, it's not really too big of an issue. Even if they do have bowmen, it's not a guarantee that we lose people. It's just that without armor, you know, Sediman could take a stray arrow to the face and just die. So, not really something we would want to chance. So we got only 75 gold, of course, but we did get the 2 prisoners. And we can actually use them for slave labor. Yeah, we still have 4 available jobs, so that'll actually be good for us. And we could go and attack this one, but it's not, yeah, not looking too good. We'll wait until tomorrow, and we'll probably do that. We do also need to start improving our relations here with Sophia, but you guys have gotten the gist of what is going to happen in the series. Now, it may not be the most difficult series we have done. I think it's more that it's interesting and everything, and it is a nice change of pace to all of the difficult series that we've had. Hopefully it's interesting to you. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it, even if it maybe doesn't sound like the most difficult series to you. Hopefully you warm up to it if you do not like it so far. And otherwise, I think that's going to be it for this episode. So, as always, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.